Hello and welcome to my exhibition, Eyes on the Throne, Art in Service of Authority and Power. This exhibition is a cross-cultural look at how rulers from ancient and medieval civilizations used art as a tool of political control. This exhibition asks us to see art not just as something beautiful or decorative, but as something powerful, persuasive, and deeply tied to authority, to how authority is visualized. Art has always been political. In every society represented here, from Egypt and Mesopotamia to Rome, Assyria, China, and England, art was used to construct images of power. Rulers used size, idealized forms, divine symbols, and placement to communicate their authority. These were early forms of propaganda carefully designed to influence how people saw their leaders. Even today, governments use monuments, um, and architecture to do the same thing. This exhibition helps us recognize the roots of those visual strategies. These three objects all show how visual culture helped legitimize a ruler's claim to power. The Narmer plate is one of the it was one of the oldest political artworks in history. Um, the king Namur is shown uniting Upper and Lower Egypt. His figure is larger than others, and the two crowns he wears signals his dominance over both regions. The stele of uh, Hammurabi uses text and image to assert divine authority. It shows Hammurabi receiving laws from the sun god himself, and this links his rule directly to divine justice, making it so that if you break his rules and laws, um, not only are you disobeying him, but you're actually actively disobeying God as well. And the equestrian statue of Charlemagne recalls Roman imperial iconology, associating Charlemagne with emperors like Augustus. Even though this is a smaller image, artwork, it sends a powerful message. This king rules by divine and historical precedent, one making it similar to Roman and Greek art, especially during the Roman period, which is still seen to this day as one of the vastest and most vastest historical empires that we had. And moving on, we have divine kingship and symbolic authority. This section focuses on how rulers presented themselves as chosen by God or even godlike themselves. The seated statue of Hatshepsut shows the queen adopting male attributes like the traditional false beard to visually claim um, pharaonic power. Her pose is rigid and timeless, suggesting divine permanence. She was actually one of the only, not only, but one of the very few female rulers, especially at this time. Um, she was ruling for her son after the king had passed and he was not yet of age. The Augustus of Prima Porta also idealizes the emperor as youthful, strong, and victorious. The decorated breastplate tells a political story of Roman triumph, while Cupid at his feet ties Augustus to the goddess Venus. These statues both weren't just portraits, they were declarations of divine authority and legitimacy. The Terracotta Army of Qinghai Huang, I think I'm saying that right, it takes political spectacle to the whole next level. Um, thousands of life-size soldiers were buried with China's first emperor to protect him in the afterlife. Each figure is unique and they reflect the real military ranks and organizations of his empire. This gives us a lot of insight into um, societal and military structure of rule at that time. and also solidifies his spot as a true king, not only during his life, but also far after it. Um, this wasn't just a funerary practice, it was a way to extend the emperor's authority and make it eternal. Even in death, he remained the center of power. Imperial propaganda. Here, we have a small but powerful object, the Genna Augusta. This Roman cameo uses mythological symbolism to elevate Augustus. He's shown seated like a god and surrounded by personifications of victory, Rome, and the heavens. This piece actually wasn't even meant for general public. It only circulated among elites. This made the message very clear. Augustus is not just an emperor, he is a divine figure. This is a perfect example of art functioning as imperial propaganda. Um, and here we have three more pieces of art. This section focuses on how rulers used art to glorify conquest. Uh, the lion hunt shows the Assyrian king slaying lions, a symbol of defeating chaos. The scene is ritualized and it's meant to display the king's bravery and strength. And here we have the Anglo-Saxon Sutton Hoo helmet. Uh, this symbolized the Anglo-Saxon elite identity, and its design projects political, military power and the mystique of warrior kingship, which during that time frame was most kings were also warrior kings. And then we also have the Alexander mosaic. This is from a Roman house in Pompeii, and this demonstrates Alexander's defeat of the Persian king Darius the third. The third, yeah. Alexander is calm and focused while Darius is panicked. It's a visual myth of the perfect ruler, creating the idea that Alexander truly is the perfect ruler. All three works show how violence and dominance were celebrated in rural image making and how they helped solidify their rule. Here's a virtual layout of my exhibition and my gallery. It's organized from geography based and chronologically, starting with the one of the oldest works that we have, some of our two oldest works actually. It does move in a counterclockwise formation. Ideally, people start to the right, and here we have each of the parts of the exhibition are separated into three different areas of the world. So the first area we have is ancient Egypt, and within that area, those pieces are chronologically ordered as well. However, they're not all mixed up in a chronological time frame. I thought it would be easier to see how works progressed in their own individual cultures as well as comparatively to other ones. And then we have the more Western, like Europe and Roman based area in the back, which also works in a counterclockwise um, chronological order. And then moving down to the final left up by the front again, it's more Eastern based. That's the Assyrian wall art. And then we also have the Chinese terracotta warrior. My creative process, I've always had a special interest in uh, specifically ancient Rome, and so it's why a lot of the pieces are Roman or have Roman influence. And I wanted to focus on imperial rule as well, just I find it fascinating. The terracotta warrior was also a very important thing for me to add to this because it was so large scaled for the time. It's um almost an unbelievable thing that was created, especially like similar to me to the pyramids. I don't know how something of that scale was completed at that time with the technologies that they had. And that same kind of awe and fascination is with the terracotta army as well. One of the harder parts was trying to organize them all by theme and how they're all related, especially in the presentation because it's not how they are formatted in the gallery layout. But I did think it was easier to explain how all of them were connected thematically and why they were all chosen to be in the same exhibition at the end of the day. And then the walkthrough could be like a timeline. Um, and then here are my works cited. And one thing I did want to make sure to mention was how um, every single ruler seemed to understand that image was everything, and that without the proper perception, and all of that, things that came with propaganda, the like art propaganda, even toward in the very beginning of ancient civilization, we see parts of that coming out, and we see it still to this day. Kind of shows how human nature doesn't evolve as much as we think we might have.